Hi everyone, my name is Ayatange. I'm part of the Microsoft Teams product group. I know many of you were trying to dial in this morning to our webinar. Apologies, we had a couple hiccups there and we weren't able to make that work, but here we are. I'm going to record a version for you that's on demand. Feel free to share this with other folks as well. We want to be here to support you. We are all, again, working on this new normal of working from home. So thank you for understanding. I really appreciate that. So with that, I want to begin by just talking about the current situation that we're in. With COVID-19 impacting people around the world, organizations everywhere are really pivoting to remote work. And they're putting the safety of their employees, their customers, and communities first. And Microsoft too, we are committed as a company to make public health our first priority and doing what we can to really help the economic and societal impact of COVID-19. So we recognize that, our technology plays a vital role in supporting people and organizations every day. And so we are here to help. So today I want to walk through some tips and tricks around Microsoft Teams to make sure that you can stay productive while working remote. So here's a quick agenda. I'm going to walk through kind of a Teams 101 or overview. I know many of you are new to Teams, and so we want to make sure you have a great onboarding experience. And so I will walk through kind of the key elements of Teams, and along with that, I will sprinkle in some great tips for working remote. And then I'll also talk about how we at Microsoft has stayed connected. So, what have our teams been doing to make sure that we have that human connection or that face-to-face connection via our technology? So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. I'll also share some great resources for you so that you have all the information that you need from, end user to technical training. And then I know we were supposed to have some time for some Q&A, but it's a little bit different on this end since I'm just recording this for you all. So with that, why don't we go ahead and jump straight into a demo? So here I am in my Microsoft Teams desktop app, and I actually like to start my day in the activity feed. So you can think of an activity feed as almost something very similar to your social media feed. You've got a lot of different things coming in from your different teams. This is all this information can be overwhelming. So we've added a filter button here. And so I actually start my morning by looking at my app mentions. You can kind of think about this as a to-do list. And so this is how I start my morning of compiling all the actions that I need to go do. So you can see my colleagues have app mentioned me. That's when they need my attention, to whether that's to review something or they need me to answer a question. I can make sure that I can get to all of my app mentions by just looking through this list here. Now, as we work from home, we also have to set expectations. So how do you set those expectations with your colleagues? So I've actually started to use we've been able to actually set your status. So, I've made it clear that I have recently taken in a foster puppy due to COVID-19. They need homes and I wanted to help. And so I have a furry friend that I need to take care of during the day. And I'm also juggling work. So if urgent, mark it as important and I will get to it. But, responses may be delayed or may be at different times throughout the day. So setting that expectation that you are juggling a lot of different things is really helpful for your coworkers, because then they know, oh, maybe I won't hear from Aya in the next 30 minutes. So it's a great way to set that expectation. You can easily edit this, so I can decide whatever I want to put in my status message. You can also think about this as very similar to your out of office messages. You can decide whether you want this to show when people message you, and you can decide, how long do you want to keep that message. So I've decided this week, and I hit done, and it's set. So now I want to talk about chats as we go down the left navigation bar here. So chats is really where I have all of my conversations with my colleagues. So I have my one-on-one conversation. So here I'm chatting with Megan. But I also have group conversations. So here there's 5 participants in this conversation. And how we kind of keep track of everything is actually being able to rename conversations. So instead of having 10 names in a chat, you can actually determine what's the project. Right now we're working on Project Tailspin. So like anything Project Tailspin related will be in this chat. So I can actually rename those chats by just clicking on the icon here. And this will change the name for everyone in your group. So just be aware of that. Now, you can also easily video call, voice call, and even screen share with folks in a chat, both one-on-one and one-to-many. These are great capabilities to use while you work from home, because you can just start up a quick video call or a quick audio call and say, hey, we got to chat about this. Let's get this done. And it's a great way to increase efficiency as well. I also want to talk about another feature that I use on a regular basis. Because we are work from home, I can't express my emotions face to face, but that's okay. We can still express emotions via Teams. And so you can see my reaction bar here. So I can love something. I can even think something's funny. So you can still express how you are feeling through technology. So it's a great way to continue to express that emotion. Now, as we are working through Teams for every day now, probably your chats have increased in numbers. So now I can actually pin chats that I use on a regular basis. So you can see here I've got all my recent chats that will continue to grow as people chat you. But let's say I work on this Project Tailspin discussion every single day, and I don't want it to keep going down the list, so I don't have to scroll all the way down here. By clicking on the ellipses here, I can pin it. So now it's up at the top, so it's easily accessible. So I always know that, I have all my pinned conversations right up at the top. And so if, let's say I'm done with this, I can unpin it. I can change these on a regular basis. I usually look at them on a weekly basis to see which conversations or projects that I've been working on and that need to be pinned up there. So you may actually see here that my manager has actually given me praise. So I want to call out the praise functionality, because since we don't see each other face to face anymore, it's a little bit harder to have those hallway conversations or those moments that you can say, hey, congrats on X project, or congrats on getting Y out to our customers. So we added a praise functionality within Teams, so you can actually give kudos to folks on your team via Microsoft Teams. So how to do that is just, you'll click on this icon here, and now I can decide, what kind of praise do I want to send that person. Maybe they're just awesome, and so I want to send them a badge of awesomeness, or I want to send them a thank you. And so when you click on these, you can then type who you want to send it to, add a personalized note, and then go ahead and send it in the chat, and it'll look something like you see here. Now let's go ahead and jump into Teams. Now, there's a couple ways to think about Teams. So I have Teams at a project level, or I have Teams at a organizational level. So it's really up to whatever your organization decides. You can have many different styles of Teams, whatever works best for you. But we from a best practice standpoint, we kind of think about it from a departmental level or a project level. So now I can go, and now you can see here I've got all of these channels. The way I like to think about channels is they are really specific work streams. So anything design related in Project Tailspin will be in this channel. Anything go-to-market related will be in this channel. Anything launch event related will be in this channel. So you know where to go to ask questions, to add more information. It's just an easy way to separate all the different work streams within that project. Now, one other thing about channels, you may see this lock here, which indicates that this is a private channel. So this is something that I know a lot of customers were asking for. They want to be able to actually lock down certain channels so that not everyone in the entire Project Tailspin team have access to. Some use cases can be around, if there are legal conversations happening, anything around budget. Sometimes managers like to have a private channel. So these are some use cases that you can think about of what makes sense for a private channel. So to create these channels, you just click on the ellipses here, click on Add Channel, and you can decide the privacy setting when you create a channel. So you either have standard access, so accessible to everyone on the team, which we tend to recommend. But if you do need to make it private, you do have that ability right here. So now I want to go into the launch event channel and talk about a couple things that we have going on here. So you can see we've got different conversations, and you can see Alex here has added a PowerPoint deck along with a Word document. So we now, anytime you add a Word document or a PowerPoint, any kind of document to Teams, it actually saves to the Files tab, which I will show you in a second. But when I click on this venue planning document, what happens is it opens right within Teams. So now I can see that Word document. Again, this is stored in the cloud too. The back end is actually SharePoint in Channels. So it's stored to the cloud. So anytime someone makes an edit, it'll edit for everyone. So you only need to have one document. You don't need to have version 2, version 3, version 4. So it's a great way to keep everything on, everyone on the same page. So now I can actually edit directly within Teams if I want, or open it in the desktop app, or you can open it in your browser. Again, depends on your preference, but we give you all options. You can also see here that Marissa and Megan are having a conversation related to these documents. So this is what we like to call a threaded conversation. So you can think about threaded conversations as almost a reply all in your inbox, but you don't have to get all of those notifications. So let's say I wanted to continue this conversation here. I would click on the reply, but I would click on this reply icon here, and then I would say, at Marissa, I have reviewed and I am good with these documents. So now when I send this off, Marissa will get a notification that I have approved these documents. So this is what we call a threaded conversation. Now, you may see this bar right here. This will start a brand new conversation, which I'll share in a second. But if you are trying to reply to something that someone has already written, make sure you're hitting that reply icon that you see here. That way, it'll keep all of your information in one location. So let's talk about creating a brand new conversation or topic. So I can type here and I can say something, we'll just call it a test right now. So I can just type in and hit send, and it'll create another post just like you see this one or this one. But if you click on the rich text editing icon here, what happens is you can add a little bit more information to it. So I can even add a subject. I can add colors, bullet points, and even mark things high importance. So this is again similar to what you're used to in your Outlook. You can mark things high importance, and people will get that information. And there'll also be a little red exclamation point like you see here, notifying that there is something important in there that you most likely need to pay attention to. So that's another great functionality to think about. So now I can use these functionalities and create my post. I also have the ability to make it stand out a little bit more than the rest. So that's by using the announcement capability. Now I have a headline. So I can say, ready to launch. And if I can type. And now I can also add a different background image, color. I can even add an image here. It really just makes it pop so people can see the post when they go to the channel. I also have the ability to decide whether people can reply to this, or just you or moderators can reply as well. We've also added the ability to post this in multiple channels. So let's say we need to tell everyone that the project is ready to launch. I may need to put that in multiple different locations so that everyone is on the same page. So I can go ahead and click on this icon, this button here, and select the channels that I want it to go to. So let's say I needed to go to the general channel and the go to market plan channel. I can even post it to other teams as well. So, the event planning team probably needs to know about this too. So I can go ahead and send this post into that team as well. So it's a great way to increase your efficiency and get the word out as fast as possible. Now, we probably also are working, we're working on a lot of different things, and maybe you want to save something to go, hey, I need to go back to that at a later time, or that's some great information. I want to make sure I keep track of that. You have the ability to do so. So if I click on the ellipses here, let's say I want to save this recent statistic that we see. I've actually already saved it because it's that important, but let me show you how to actually do that. I can click on that ellipses. I can click on save this message, and now it's actually saved. You can see that it's saved when it's a purple, when the bookmark is purple. And so now the big question is, where are all my saved messages going? I can go up to the top here, and you'll see this is a really good tip. So if you go -- here, you will see all of our commands. Now this is for those who like to be a little bit, very, very quick. If I go / saved, I can now go and see my saved list of all the posts that I have that I wanted to go back to. So all you have to do is click that /. You can see all the commands that we do have already, and you can see the saved button here. Another great command that I want to call out is test call. So because we're working from home, maybe internet connectivity sometimes can get a little bit glitchy, and you want to make sure that it's good quality. You can actually hit that test call button, and you can test your video and audio quality. So you can go ahead and do that as well. A couple other ones to call out here. I can also do /DND, which is do not disturb. So when I'm focusing at home, I'll definitely turn this on. So when I do that, it'll say the status is being set to do not disturb. And you'll notice that my icon here has also turned to do not disturb. So it's a great way to also notify your teammates that you are not available at that time. But I can also then easily change back to green, saying that I'm available. Great. Now, I also want to talk about some of our inclusive features. I know a lot of people are working with people all around the world. Maybe, in our case, my first language is English, but that's not the case for everyone. I also speak Japanese, and sometimes I like to speak in Japanese. So you can see here I've recently written in Japanese. So my coworkers who are based in Redmond probably can't understand what I'm saying here. But now with our AI inline translation feature, again, clicking on that ellipses, I can go ahead and translate this, and now it translates into English or whatever language you want it to translate to. So what we're doing is we're breaking down those barriers of people who are all around the world, speak different languages. They can still communicate and collaborate in whatever language is their preference, but still be able to communicate with everyone in their team. So I also want to talk, I briefly talked about this I talked about files earlier, and I want to talk about the tabs that you see at the top of this channel. So you can see here when I click on files, all of the files that you saw in my channel will also show up in this tab. So I don't have to go back here and say, okay, now I have to go into all the posts to go find Alex's brand elements and venue planning documents. I always know I can go to the Files tab to see this. Again, this looks probably many of you are used to using SharePoint. We have integrated with SharePoint, so it's an identical experience of what you would see in a SharePoint site. Again, the back end is SharePoint Online. So you even have the sync capability here. You can upload documents, and you can even open this up in SharePoint if you would like. So we are giving you that option and made that experience seamless. We also have the ability to add different tabs here. So I'll show you how to add a tab first before I show you the ones I have. Adding a tab can be anything from, a Power BI dashboard, a PowerPoint. We also work with our partners, so we have a bunch of third-party applications that you may already be using. We may be partnering with them already, so you can actually already add them in. So I highly recommend you checking out our App Store, and so you can integrate those apps into your team's channels. So here, how I like to think about tabs is I add tabs when I need something on a regular basis. So you can see here, I use my Power BI dashboard all the time. So what we've done is we've added that Power BI dashboard as a tab so that I have easy access to it. I don't have to open another window to go into my Power BI. I know that it's going to be in that channel, and I can of course play around with this directly. So it's really nice that that everything is in one place. So you can see here I also have some other other tabs as well. I've even added a PowerPoint presentation that we use also on a regular basis. So again, you can think about this as easy access for people who are in this channel. Great. So now let's talk about meetings, because I know a lot of us spend many hours in meetings every day. So because now we don't have face-to-face meetings anymore, all of them are now on Teams. So I want to call out a couple things. You currently see my calendar view. This is identical to my Outlook calendar. Everything is synced up. So if you were to create an event in Outlook, it would show up in Teams and vice versa. So you can schedule a meeting right from here. You can schedule it from Outlook, doesn't matter. It'll show up in both locations. I also want to call out live events. Now, a lot of our in-person events have been canceled, but that doesn't mean that events have to stop. We can digitally do events, and so live events is for folks up to 10,000 attendees. So you can have trainings. We've had town halls, big company meetings, you name it. You can do it through a live event. And if I click on this, I can actually show you what this live event looks like. So it's fairly easy to set up. I'll just make this a test right now. So you would fill out, the title of it, when it would be, the additional details. You'd also invite your presenters. So if you had 5 presenters, you would input their emails in there. And then as the organizer, I would also be the producer. So I have a little bit of a different view here, which I'll show you on the next page. So as a producer, you can decide whether you record it, if we want to have moderated Q&A. We give you these options so that it makes it easy to, create that event right at the end and send it out to the people who want to watch it at a later time if anyone missed it. We also have event permissions, so you can decide who gets access to the live event. Sometimes you just want to send it to a group of people. You can decide who have access. You can also make it org-wide. So here you would require a sign-in. So you would, for example, if I worked at Microsoft, I would have to sign in with my Microsoft account to have access to that live event. You also can make it public. So anyone with that link would be able to access that live event. Currently, my admin has disabled this ability for me to create a live event. A public event, excuse me. But this is an option that you also have as well. So if you are working with external folks on a regular basis and you need to create a live event, it's possible to do so. Let's discard here. Great. So I also want to call out our Meet Now capability. So this is one that I've actually used a lot more since I've started working from home. I'm currently on week 4 of working from home, and now I use this on the daily. So I think about a Meet Now as a hallway conversation. So it's like an impromptu meeting. So I'll click on this, and you guys will see me in a second here. So now I can actually hit the join button, and I can invite whoever I want to this meeting. So from here, I can invite, I can add numbers, I can invite people within my organization, and we can have an impromptu conversation. So that's the Meet Now capability that I highly recommend people use, but I want to also go ahead and join a meeting that we had already had on the calendar. So here is the view that I see as the organizer. I can see everyone that's been invited to the meeting. I've added the agenda. I have the Teams meeting link. So for example, if you want to send this out to other folks, you can actually just copy and paste all this information. You can send it to someone. If they have this link, they will be able to join that meeting. They don't have to be in your organization. They can be external. They don't have to download anything. They can join via the web. They have the ability to enter that meeting. We also have a conference ID number with a phone number, so that if you want to be dialing in that way, you also have the ability to do so. So let me go ahead and join this meeting. So let's talk about the pre-join screen that you also saw in the Meet Now capability, but let's pretend I'm going into this Project Tailspin review. So we've added this pre-join screen because you've probably had those awkward moments where you think you're muted, but you're unmuted, or you think your video's off, but it's actually on. This now gives you the ability to decide how you're entering into the meeting. So I'll keep my video on and I'll turn myself on mute right now. And I'm gonna turn on my favorite feature, background blur. So now I can remove those distractions behind me. Again, you know, we're working from home. There are a lot of distractions, whether that's dogs, cats, people. You never know what's going to happen. So by being able to remove that distraction, you can stay focused in on the meeting. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen custom backgrounds, capabilities that we will be rolling out soon, so stay tuned. Currently, I am demoing in a tenant that you all have. So right now, we have background blur available for everyone to use. So now that I feel like I'm ready to enter the meeting, I'm going to go ahead and join. Great. So I'm the only one in the meeting right now, but that's okay. I just want to show you a couple more capabilities that we have. So you can see my control bar here. And I always open up my share tray here, and I can turn on, I can share my entire desktop. I can share specific windows. I can share PowerPoints. I can even share the Microsoft Whiteboard. So this is a great capability, as since we are now all remote and we don't have those in-person meetings with a physical whiteboard, you now have the ability to actually have a virtual whiteboard. So now everyone can co-author, and I can write something here, and if other folks were in the meeting, other people could co-author as well. And so this is a great way to have a brainstorm session remotely. And all this information is saved within the meeting. You can also go ahead and export this as an image. So you have the ability to keep all this information and brainstorm from wherever you are. So it's a great way to collaborate with folks on the call. So that's the share tray. Highly recommend you share if you're presenting something. Definitely recommend sharing a PowerPoint or a specific window that you want to share, or you could share your entire desktop as well. It's just, again, matter of preference. Now I want to speak a little bit about our inclusive features that we have in our meetings. So I can record this meeting, which I highly recommend you do, because again, many people are trying to juggle a lot of different things with work and life. People are double booked, they're in different time zones. So I highly recommend you record your meetings so that you can actually have them saved for folks to go back to at a later date. So all of your recordings will be stored in Microsoft Stream. And what's great about that is it also comes with transcription capabilities. So I can now actually transcribe, I can have a transcription of the entire meeting. So I can go back to a meeting that maybe I missed, and I can even type in my name, and I can find my action items. So it's a great way to stay up to date with all of the information and actions that you need to get done. So you can also turn on live captions. We've built this feature for those who are deaf or hard of hearing, have different levels of language proficiency, or are dialing in from a noisy environment. This makes it easy for people to follow along with what's happening in the conversation. So I've actually found myself turning this on by default so I can stay more engaged in the conversation, but it's a great way to make sure that everyone is on the same page. So now, these are all of the features I wanted to share with you all from a meetings perspective, but I have a couple more tips I want to share. So as we continue to go down the left navigation bar here, we also have PSTN calling. So this may be something that is a part of your package that you have with Office 365. If so, you will see your phone number here. I have a dial pad so I can do all of my internal and external calls. You can decide your speed dial. I usually have my team there. We also have our voicemails and all of your contacts. So this is a great way if you have PSTN calling. You will see that your phone number pop up here. Okay, so that was quite a demo. I do want to bring back up my deck here so we can let's do a recap of all the tips and tricks. So I've split this up in terms of collaboration, meetings, and inclusivity here. So again, setting your status message to set expectations with your colleagues, a really great way to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Make sure you're mentioning folks so that they actually get that notification so you can catch people's attentions. Definitely be renaming your chats and pinning chats and channels. This is important because there's a lot of information coming in. It helps everyone stay on the same page. Using that command bar up at the top that I showed you, whether that's for your saved messages, to put yourself on Do Not Disturb, to test call, definitely check out those commands and see which ones work for you. Adding tabs in channels and chats, another great way to increase efficiency of if you're working on a PowerPoint deck as a team, add it as a tab so everyone has access to it and knows where it is. From a meetings perspective, definitely use that Meet Now capability. It's great for impromptu conversations, and I kind of like to think about it as my hallway conversations. Definitely turn on your video when you are in meetings and use background blur. People like to see your face, so definitely try and use video as much as you can. I highly recommend, again, screen sharing to share information. It's a great way to collaborate with folks. And if you are in that brainstorming phase, please use that Microsoft whiteboard that's within the Teams meeting. If you need a bigger meeting, again, meetings are for 250, max is 250 individuals. We have live events that hold up to 10,000 individuals. If you need to go higher than that, we actually are, due to COVID-19, we do have another option for folks who need to go up beyond 10,000 up to 100,000. We have documentation on that, so make sure to check that out. But live events are great for all hands meetings, company-wide meetings, and trainings. From an inclusivity standpoint, I highly recommend recording your meetings for people who can't make it, and people can go back to it at a later time to make sure they're up to date. Highly recommend you use live captions. This is currently in English only, but more languages are coming down the pipeline so that you can follow along with what's happening in the meeting. Definitely use inline translation if you're working with people all around the world. This allows people to speak in the language that's their preference and still be able to communicate with people in different countries. Definitely use GIFs, stickers, and reactions. We don't have that face-to-face interaction anymore, so share your emotions through technology, and GIFs and stickers and reactions are a great way to do so. Lastly, using that praise feature, celebrate your colleagues, celebrate the wins. Doesn't mean that should stop because you are sitting at home alone. Make sure you are using ways to connect with your colleagues as much as you can. So I want to talk a little bit about how at Microsoft have we stayed connected, and I can speak to what my team has done, and I think every day we learn something new, and we're all in this together. We're learning how to do this remote work. It's a new normal, and so we're trying to work together to figure out what works and what doesn't. What we have found really works is having a team chat. So we've got about 20 folks on the team, and we have a team chat that we use on a regular basis. Whether that's asking a question of, hey, does anyone know something about X or Y? All the way to, hey, look at my dog, or here's my baby, or here's something that I did today. Here's my completed puzzle. We use it for all sorts of different reasons, but it's a great way to stay connected. We also have a 15-minute daily morning check-in. So one of my colleagues said, hey, I'm having a really hard time with this work and life blurred together, and I never know how to really start my day. How about we just have a 15-minute good morning, let's check in and see how we're all doing, and let's start the day fresh. So we have a meeting that people can join if they'd like. And it's a great way to just start the day and almost pretend that we are in the office. My manager has also set up, weekly round robins. So we like to do these 30-minute check-ins with the team of, hey, what's top of mind? What is everyone working on? Because we don't get to see each other every day, it's harder to keep in touch and stay up to date with what people are doing. So it's a great way to spend some time to understand what other folks on the team are doing and ways to collaborate with each other. More on the fun side here, we set up virtual coffee breaks. We have virtual lunches and even happy hours, just so that we can have some interaction non-work related. So I highly recommend you do this as well, because it can turn into all work. We do need to give ourselves a break. We need to let our minds reset and take a break. So this is a great way to do so. We've also set up a team engagement channel for the entire organization of about 400 now. And so this is a great way to actually talk about non-work related things, whether that's, figuring out activities for kids, or just asking, hey, how is everyone doing? How do people decompress from the workday? So we're sending pictures and links of things that people can do while they're at home, while we are in this stay-at-home phase. So it's a great way to still feel connected to the broader organization. Our vice president also has set up town halls via live events. So we have one every couple of weeks as a check-in to hear what his top of mind is, for us to ask questions. Again, another great way to make sure that we are staying connected during this time. Again, these are only a couple ways of how we keep our virtual face-to-face communication and connection. And I'm sure you all have your own versions, and so we'd love to hear what you have been doing to keep that energy up while we work from home. Lastly, I want to leave you with some resources. I'll start with the first one at aka.ms/doitonteams. This is a great place for you to go learn about how to do remote work. We've got some great tips and tricks, tutorials, trainings, blog posts, so make sure you check that out. We also just launched team sweepstakes. So if we want to see what your remote setup or home office setup is, so you can hashtag us at GoRemoteWithTeams or hashtag team sweepstakes, and we will enter you in for a $150 Visa gift card to buy work from home gear. So definitely check that out on aka.ms/doitonteams. Again, this is a US only, so folks who are watching this globally, I'm sorry, but this will be a US only sweepstakes. We also have aka.ms/successwithteams. This is your one-stop shop for your technical guidance. So if you're an IT admin, highly recommend you look at all the documentation and training that we have for you, all the way through to end user tips and tricks and documentation to send to your end user if you are onboarding onto Teams. So it's a great one-stop shop with all documentation. The last one, ak.ms/Teams Quick Start Guide. This is a PDF version of how to use Teams. Definitely a great resource for people who are new to Teams, and it points out all the key features that I talked about today. Lastly, make sure you download the desktop and mobile app. I use my desktop app and mobile app all the time. It keeps me connected with everyone, no matter what. So please make sure to download those as well. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for everyone who has dialed into this webinar. I hope you've learned some great tips and tricks, and we are hoping that you are safe and healthy, and we are here to support you. Thank you.